it's a mission for me to be able to speak, to be the voice for the voiceless.
I am interested in that part where you said a society where animals are treated with disrespect.
Over time, the person graduates from inflicting pain to animals, then to human beings. One cat seen as evil in one continent is the same cat that is seen as a pet in another environment.
How do we even live? How many times have we seen lion litter antelope on the streets? Because they are strong. If they want to, they can do that because they are very strong, no? The antelope are weak. But the lion never do that. Because why? They understand the balance. They catch antelope when they want to and they eat.
Yeah, I think it's about our understanding about what they are.
How can we leverage the animal behavior to build a better society?
All right. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I'm Dr. Iyasere Oluwaseun. I am an animal behavior and welfare expert, and this was something that I decided to study animal science just after finishing secondary school. I wanted to enter into the university. I don't know how I got interested in animals, but I think I can trace it to my background because my father had lots of backyard animals. We had a lovely goat then, had a shiny, 4 colors. And we used to call that goat Mama Goat. So our dad did a wonderful job, having those animals around. And I think that is where I actually picked interest. Because when I was to choose which subject I would study, I actually decided I would do animal science. I feel that in the jam form, even before telling my father. So when he heard about that, he was like, "Is that really what you want to study?" I said, "Yes." So I said, "Okay, if that is it, then I will support you." And that was how the journey started. And here I am today,
That's
in
lovely.
behavior and welfare. Yes, it has been an exciting journey. No regrets at all.
I love that. I love that. So, yeah, for the listener, that is what we're going to be talking about today. What do you know about animal behavior and welfare? So, yeah, Iyasere will be helping us to understand this part today in her journey. But, like you know, of course, in Obehi Podcast, we are really very passionate about the story, which is the background story before we get to what you do. Now, you're going to give us the privilege of understanding what you see around you, only that you're a young girl now, just growing up. So tell us about what you see as a young girl.
I attended a boarding school that is Mayflower. So, the Dr. Taishu Larry, and I was in the first year JS1, when he died in 1993. So we were the last set that met him alive. But I grew up in the boarding school. So I had the spirit of resilience, hard work, I was self-reliant. We were taught about self-reliance, and all this, helped me to grow. Despite the challenges in life, we'll always face challenges here and there, but that actually helped me to withstand the ups and downs. And as a child, I also realized that, hard work was very key. I grew up, in a family where we were taught or brought up to be hardworking. We had a lot of things doing in our homes, and it really helped me as well as a woman and also in my career. So it has been God. I believe in God, and I believe in that God orders our step, and I've seen Him ordering my step all this while, even till today. So I give glory to God, and I give glory to my parents and my siblings and those that God have placed in my path at one point or the other to support me.
That's lovely. And if you were to look at what you are doing today, like a kind of a mission in the animal behavior and animal welfare, how would you describe that kind of a mission?
To be sincere, is a mission for me to be able to speak, to be the voice for the voiceless. These animals, they were created for a purpose as well. Although we most times see it as if humans are number one, and above them, which is okay. But we also need to understand the fact that animals are sentient beings. And what sentient means is that the animals too have the ability to feel pain and pleasure. So if you do something painful on them, you can see the reaction. It means that we also need to be very mindful of the way we treat our animals. And from where I'm coming from, Africa and in most developing countries, our perspective actually differs from the way we see animals. Most times we see them as just for consumption purposes. But the relationship between humans and animals exceeds just the consumption aspect, because um, growing up and also visiting other developed countries, and also with more knowledge that I am getting, I see that the human animal bond, there's a more that comes with emotional attachment, emotional support, loyalty, companionship, and it exceeds just having them as farm animals or for consumption purposes. We have animal assisted therapies. We have animals that are trained to even help people with disabilities. So it exceeds that. So if I keep talking about this, it shows that there is what is called the one welfare concept. And what it means is that there's this interrelationship in the connection between humans, animals, and the environment. If the welfare of an animal is okay, there is a way it affects humans. And from one of these, the concept of one welfare, it shows that in a society where animals are maltreated or abused, it has implication on the behavior of people in that society. And it could lead to behaviors such as domestic violence and the likes. So if somebody is not being cautioned, even from the early stage of life, about how to care for animals, it's going to affect the way such person even behave to another fellow human being. There are cases and there are evidences that have shown that children who grew up with pets end up, not to have traces of being violent later in life, because during the time they were growing up with those animals, having the pets, caring for them, they have already instilled in themselves the skills of responsibility and empathy. So when a child has got empathy for animals at that age, it's very difficult for that child to grow up later in life and become a violent person, even, causing harm to another fellow human being. So the relationship transcends beyond just for consumption purpose.
It's really a nice perspective, Iyasere. I must point that out. This is really a good perspective that most people don't even think about at all. So, of course, that is going to dominate the conversation of today now, the relationship. And yeah, the relationship. Because, yeah, like you did point out, there is a very strong connection to animal in the animal world, which, of course, we are actually part of the animal world in the sense that we are animal, no? Only that we're a different type of animal. So maybe having that understanding help people to understand that, well, okay, there is not really that big distinction after all. So that if you learn to treat animal well, maybe you might learn to treat human being well too. I am interested in that part where you said a society where animals are treated with disrespect, it is easy to transit from treating animal with disrespect to treating human being with disrespect. Okay, where I'm getting that from is that there have been a lot of psychological documentation and work that have been done by serial killers, for example, and other very dangerous human beings who studies have been done about their background. And they found out that these individuals, some of them, not in all the cases, but some of them have started by killing animals.
Yeah.
So by starting the house cat, they start killing bigger animals. From there, they graduate into killing human beings. And for them, it's just about the same thing. They're just doing what they have always done. So I
Yeah.
think that is a fine line that need to be traced there in what do we need to understand about this behavior on how we treat animals, looking at it from the point of view of psychology.
Okay, thank you so much. Yeah, you actually got the point. The reason is, when they are not being cautioned, or they don't understand that that behavior that they are just um, doing to that animal can transcend later in life to humans. And this is how it works. When you have, let me say, a chicken or a rabbit or anything, or a cat or a dog, and you inflict pain on the animal without you understanding that that animal is going through pain by what you have just done. Gradually, if you keep doing such things, it leads to what is called desensitization. You have no more feelings, you just think it is normal, that you don't care whether it's got the feeling it's been hot or not. So over time, the person graduates from inflicting pain to animals, then to human beings, because they have been desensitized to understand that somebody else is going through discomfort from that particular behavior. That's the explanation about it.
Thank you so much for that. I would like us to visit Africa because you said so just now, talking about the way that we treat Africa, talking about how Africa treat animal. Because I am curious about our behavior. I'm not a sociologist, actually, as it were, but I am very, very conscious of our behavior. I'm sort of curious about it. Now, where I'm going might be a very graphic for some people, but Nigeria, where you and I are coming from, have become very graphic these days, no? In that we can actually see a human being slaughter another human being just like pieces of meat. And we have seen this happen a number of times. There was this investigation that was done recently in the eastern part of the country where a group of people entered into a community and they will cut a human being, put it in a pot and eat. I'm not talking of 2,000 years ago. I'm talking of 2025. Is there a way that we can, how did we get to that level that we can look at, I don't know, I can't even describe it. How do we, it doesn't have to do with this desensitization of not seeing human being as human being. Therefore, we are able to do anything to the point of cutting, slaughtering human being.
This is a big question. And yeah, I think everything has got to do with our mindset and our perspective. Though there are some cultural beliefs, you know, when it comes to human animal relationship, there are some culture, or there are some, yeah, that make us see some animals as a taboo or evil based on, I don't know what could have happened maybe several years back. But you know that, for especially like you have mentioned, for those in Nigeria and Africa, we don't see cats in a good light. We have this kind of perception about cats, that they are evil, bad luck, witchcraft, attached to witchcraft. And I will share this story of mine, which I used to normally used to convey this message. Growing up as a child, because we have that belief that cats are evil. So there was a day, I think I should still be around 8 or 10 years old then. There was this cat that came around, and because of that belief and that fear, some people grabbed the cat, and they dropped the cat into a sack. They held the tip of the sack, and they started hitting the cat. And till today, to be sincere, I still, that sound, the screaming of the cat in that bag while it was being treated badly that way. So what I'm trying to say is that, if I'm not being careful, if I look at it from another perspective and say, oh, this is how to treat an animal, it can aggravate, because I have seen it being done. I know what I experienced, just hearing the sound of that cat. Until today, I'm still working on myself to overcome my phobia for cats. And that is why I do as many much awareness to let people know that we need to understand our animals better. When we have this full understanding, it will help us, appreciate them more. Let me give you this instance. One cat seen as evil in one continent is the same cat that is seen as a pet in another environment. and is properly taken care of. So, what is the difference? It is either the culture or our perspective about that particular animal. So, if we don't see ourselves as fellow human beings anymore for any reason whatsoever, maybe due to how things have, degenerated, and maybe the love for money, because all this you're talking about, we'll still have to trace it back to the love for money, because most of those people who engage in such activities, they are maybe interested in money rituals, and that is their belief that they have to use a soul to replace another soul. Now, there are also some other practices that, for instance, in some places in the Southwest, where if somebody's got an accident or a bone fracture or dislocation or something, during the treatment, they also use some things like chicken. They'll break the leg of the chicken intentionally, and they believe that, as through that traditional medicine process, as the bone is healing, as the bone of that chicken is healing, so also the bone of the patient is healing. So look at it. How I don't understand, why should a chicken be made to suffer a pain because you want to relate it to traditional medicine? I don't know. So things like that, if one is not being careful, if somebody grew up in such an environment, you are indirectly telling them that you can harm animals just for your own good, and that could lead to something else later in life. So all these things we are seeing now, if we are trace it back to the origin, then maybe, for instance, those who are involved in things like that, if we can as well do a little bit background check where they are coming from, there is the possibility that we may be able to trace it to things like this.
Thank you so much for that. And this is very
You're
important.
welcome.
In fact, I think most of the suffering that we are having in Africa is actually self-inflicted. That we have refused to learn from the bulk of knowledge around us. Let's look at some of the things that we can learn from the animal. Like, how do we even live? Say maybe, for example, because we believe that we are very smart, we are very intelligent, but we are not. Let's look at, for
Yeah.
example, relationship to nature. Let's try to learn from the lion, because the lion also kill other animal to eat. But how many times have we seen lion litter antelope on the streets? Because they are strong. If they want to, they can do that because they are very strong, no? The antelope are
Yeah.
weak. But the lion never do that. Because why? They understand the balance. They catch
Yeah.
antelope when they want to, and they eat. When they finish to eat, they leave the rest. Even if a young antelope come that cannot walk, they don't just kill it and they just leave it on the ground because they are
Yeah.
strong.
No.
We are the only one that do that. Okay, now, what other thing can we learn from the animal? There are a lot of knowledge. If
Yeah.
you see, those that develop plane, fighter jet, they are actually
Yeah.
built against the aerodynamics of the birds. Because the
Yeah.
birds are big. There are giant birds that can fly, no? Like big eagle. They can fly. It's not just because human being is bulky that it cannot fly. It's because we haven't developed our arms are not big enough compared to the body weight. Therefore, we don't have the possibility of literally flipping our hands and fly in the air. But we can learn from the birds about
A
how do
lot.
we organize ourselves so that if we are in the air, we can sort of move around.
Yeah.
We can't learn this on our own because we are not like that. If we see the animal as evil now, how can you learn from the evil? There is a particular bird in my place. Okay, the English word for the bird is O, T-O-W. In my place, it's called Okpekpuhu. I know many African culture have a bad omen to this particular bird, but
Yeah.
yet we watch the cartoon. A lot of the cartoon that have been created from this bird, because what other cultures are looking for is what can they learn from this bird? Because each of us is carrying a bundle of information from nature, either from the eyesight, how beautiful we can see, how far we can see. That alone is enough for us to study. Because if we study that and apply it in our way, we will become more intelligent. I just talked
Yeah.
about aerodynamics. What about the train? You see, the train track the train that everybody use. If you want to move from, you are in Berlin, you want to move from Berlin to Frankfurt, you don't want to take the flight, you can take the train. If you look at the train, you see that the train is literally built upon an animal. The animal is called millipede. You see, millipede is a small animal. Somebody might say, but it's of no use to me. It's because you are not intelligent
Mm.
enough. If you understand the dynamics under which we are living, you see that your life actually depends on the millipede, just as the millipede life depends also on you, the plant, the
Yeah.
air, the winds. So I think maybe it is, I don't even understand why we are not able to understand this free information that is in front of us. Because now the millipede, you don't need to go to the US now to study it. The millipede is just at the background. The earthworm, we can learn from the earthworm. We can learn from the tortoise. We can learn from the cattle.
Mm.
We can learn from the birds in the
Yeah.
air. We don't need to go anywhere at all. All the information is right in front of us. We can use it to build our military. We can use it to develop our agriculture. We can use it to develop communication. How to communicate, how to
Yeah.
translate, decode. You send information, you decode, you're able to understand it. Everything is here. But we must start by respecting the other component of the life, the animals. Please tell us more about that. Maybe what we should do.
Okay, yeah, you have you have vast knowledge, regarding this. In the lessons that we can learn, I will start from what the Bible actually says. There is a part in the book of Proverbs when we were told to go and learn from the ant. It said, "Go to the ant, ye sluggards, consider its ways and be wise." So, if the word of God is actually directing we humans to go learn from the ant, how tiny the ant is, it has actually said everything that you have talked about. And if you look at the ants, they are well organized. Yes, and they have what is called division of labor, which we humans too can learn from. We have, we have the soldiers who guard, the colony. We have the nurses, who take care of the younger ones. We have the queen that is all into reproduction. So a whole lot of things like that. It's like you have an organogram in an organization where you have the head followed by, and each person has got their role to play. So there are a lot of lessons, and I don't know if you're aware of this, that I published a book called Go to the Hen, because I have been doing research on chickens for about 18 years, and I looked at the similarities in the behavior of the hen, the chicken world, and related it to my own personal experience as a human being. And I was able to come up with about 14 lessons from that. And some of them is the first one I talked about. Chickens have personalities too, and each one of them, they are unique. And I was just trying to use that lesson to let we humans know that you need to embrace yourself the way you are. You are a unique being. You don't have to live like somebody else. Accept yourself the way you are, and then you can improve. But you don't have to pretend or try to be somebody else. You can never be somebody else. You can only be you. And I also talked that we were created for a purpose. We all have our voice. Yes, a lot of people, laugh when I tell them I've been doing research for so number of years on chickens, and they'll look at you, chickens. How can you spend 18 years doing research on chickens? Yes, we all have our own passion. We have what we are interested in, but I used the lesson too to let them know that each and every one of us have got a purpose. We need to identify and make sure we use our voice. So there's a whole lot of lesson in that book, Go to the Hen, which I talked about. And there is one interesting part about it from the chicken world, that if a hen actually have the opportunity to choose the cock that she wants to mate with, she looks out for some characteristics in the cock. Just like we humans, or ladies, I would say, If a man comes and wants to propose, you want to look out for some, features. Is this the kind of man I want? Things like that. But one good thing I was able to get in that understanding was that the hen actually looked out for traits that she knows that when she mates with that cock and she has chicks, the traits are mostly geared towards the health characteristics of the chicks. She looks out for the feather, the feather color, the quality of the feathers, how well groomed that cock is. The quality of the comb, the reddish structure, and also the wattle. It says a lot about the health trait of the cock, and also the genetic traits as well. So that hen can make that decision that this is a cock that the trait can be passed to her chicks and the chicks will be healthy. So if a hen can think like that, how much more we humans? What are we actually interested in when we are making decisions about the choice of a life partner? Are we just looking at the short term, or are we looking at how it's going to affect our children? So I can go on and on.
Thank you so much for that. That is beautiful. You see, when we started the conversation, we said we are going to talk about animal behavior and welfare. Somebody might be saying, okay, they are here again, just making noise. They don't understand the depth of the conversation. Because suddenly now we're talking about the human being. We're talking about how do we become better version of ourselves, Just now we're talking about how do we build the military, talking about animal. You see, my son is 7. Recently, my son had been telling me a lot about the ants because he saw the ants in a cartoon. And he'll be doing his own research every time when I go to pick him in the school, because the school is very close by here. We have time to talk on the way, and he'll be telling me about the ant. Do you know the queen of the ant? You know how they lay the egg? And he was telling me everything about the ant that he have discovered. All these are really beautiful things. Again, I'm saying that we don't need to go to anywhere. Now people think that to get knowledge, you need to travel to a place. But it is not true. Knowledge is where you are. Knowledge is nothing more than how you apply what you know to get what you want. And everything you need to apply it on is there. You can't say that you must use iron made of cars to get your result. No, it is not true. That is one of the ways to get result. If you don't have that, use what you have to get your result. Now, you want to travel, right? You want to move from a place to another place. There are many ways to do that. The only way to do that is not to take bus. You can also take bicycle. You can also jump, depending on the location where you want to reach. You can also imagine, put yourself there telematically, depending on what is the objective. You can use wood if you want to. So I'm saying, in essence, is that everything that we need to be able to get to where we want is here. But we must be ready to do the work. Because you cannot ask for everything and still say, do it for me. No, it is not possible. What are you supposed to do yourself? What is your role? If we want to learn, you see, the ant, I'm also be very fascinating. I don't know how my son get to like the ant very well. I've been very fascinating about the ant. This little animal, how managed to build this ant hill. You know the ant hill, Can we learn anything from that? How did they manage to collaborate and take something bigger, far bigger than them, drag it from where it is into their hole so that they can eat? How did they do that? An ant cannot do that. An ant can never do that because sometimes they are far bigger than them individually. But they are able to do that by collaborating. Maybe they find a grasshopper on the road. They will drag the grasshopper to the hole. How did they manage to do that? We can learn from it. So to learn from it, we don't need to go to Harvard University. All we just need to do is to pay attention. Just really pay attention and look. Look very well and observe. After we observe, then we say, okay, how can we apply it in our way? Right now, there is a big problem happening, particularly in the southern part of the country. Of course, also in the northern part of the country, I'm referring to Nigeria, about insecurity. And we think
Mm.
that Nigerian government is going to solve the problem, but it is not going to solve the problem. How the problem is going to be resolved is by the local people. They are going to resolve it with everything they have, including learning also from the animals around. In that, when somebody come to dispossess you of your land, what do? You need to ask yourself, do you need to tell them, hey, come and kill me, you have killed the other one, now kill me, and they kill the other one, they kill the other one, then you can take the land, because we cannot do anything. No, if you need to fall a tree, break it into tools, use it to stand on your gate and say, okay, you are the one that is coming to kill me, all right, now let's fight. If you can kill me, then take this land. If you cannot kill me, then I have reclaimed my land. You are going to have to defend yourself. Do anything you can. You can't say, oh, they didn't send AK-47. AK-47 is made in Russia. It's not made in Nigeria. What if they refuse to send it to you from Russia? So we're going to have to look for our solution locally. Let's build our defense locally, what we know how to do. Anyway, I can also go on and on, like you were saying. Okay, let me come home. The psychology. I want you to tell us something about the psychology of animal behavior. Because people think they need to go somewhere. I am telling them they don't need to go anywhere. But how can they do that? Study the animal and applying the knowledge in their way of life. Help us.
Okay, thank you so much. At times when we talk about animal behavior, it's just the reaction of an animal to a stimuli. Stimuli could be internal or external. Just like humans, if you are reacting to a hot weather, maybe you can be panting, you can be sweating, you may be drinking a lot of water. So as well in the animals as well, they show some behavioral responses when things are good and when things are bad with them. So I'm going to be using layman English to explain so that everybody can understand, whoever comes on this and watch the replay. Now, we need to be observant with our animals. The animal, there is a Yoruba proverb. If you permit me to use some proverbs
Please
here,
go ahead. It make more richer. It make it richer like that.
okay, okay, thank you. I still believe that even our great grandparents, our forefathers, still understand some bit about animal behavior and animal welfare. Only that we are talking about the science of it now. But I still believe that there is a way that we can still find value in what we call the indigenous knowledge. And I keep preaching it that we need to be able to get the indigenous knowledge documented. So otherwise, we are going to lose out on huge resources in terms of intellectual resources. Now, there is this Yoruba proverbs that says, "Ojú ni màálù ń rọ́, ọbẹ̀ ò dá lọ́rùn." What is it trying to tell us? It's telling us that during the slaughtering process of the cow or the cattle, that the animal still finds it difficult and painful when the throat is being slit with a knife. It says it is just that it doesn't have any option at that moment. It just have to take the pain. So if that proverb could let us know that it's actually a painful procedure, then what do we need to do in that line? Then why can't we devise other means by which we can make that procedure more humane? I mean, less painful. It's as simple as that. But in that proverb, it has actually communicated the message that there are some procedures that we apply to our animals that they find painful, and which is against animal welfare. We should make even till the point of the final breath, they should not experience any form of discomfort or suffering. Now, there is also another proverb that says, "Ajá tó rí ni tó ń jùrù, tó wá di ẹni tó ń rí ni tó ń gbó." What it means is that You have a dog. When dogs are happy, they keep wagging their tails, they want to jump at you. This same dog that has been wagging its tail because you are present suddenly changes and sees you and start barking. It means that something has changed. Something has changed. But what it has changed, you need to be able to figure it out. What have you done wrong? Maybe you have done something painful or something, maybe it has observed some strange things about you. So we need to be mindful of this. So I believe that each and every one of us, we have some understanding about our animals. If you can just take time to have a look and understand, why is it behaving this way? Why is it behaving the other way? There are this indigenous knowledge. There's a huge value in it as well. So we need to be able to preserve it. Let's look at the good ones. Let's embrace it. Let's promote it. And also, if we need to validate it with science, we can also bring it and correlate it with science. We may almost be saying the same thing, only that, the indigenous knowledge is not something that, you go to school to learn, or you have to test, doing research or doing scientific studies on. But I still believe that to some extent we have that understanding, but we may need to do more, to let people understand the value in it. And when I was putting up what my online course on human animal interaction, bridging the gap, I have that as a certificated certification course, human animal interaction. I realized that there's some parts in Anambra State, because of the role the monkeys played at a point in time during their history. The monkeys were making some sound, and that alerted the community to know that there was danger. There were intruders coming in there. So that actually saved them. And because of what happened, they made it like a law in there that nobody must, kill those animals. And since then, it has preserved the monkeys in that community. So we can learn. Look, you can see that actually save that community by the behavioral reaction they displayed when they observe strangers coming around. So also, I've also read that animals also, they are faster to sense when they're likely natural disasters. Maybe there's going to be what is
Maybe
it
like an
called now?
earthquake or
Yes,
a landslide.
yes. Yes, they sense it earlier than humans, and they tend to migrate. So, and I know that there are lots of studies that have done that, that if they can understand and look at those animals and observe any strange migration, they can also use that to alert humans around and save lives. Because at the end of the day, we humans we cannot sense those things, and most times we fall victim of those natural disasters. So, like that, it's a saving grace for the humans as well.
Hmm. You see, this thing now again, I want to say again, you don't need to go to anywhere. All the knowledge is available for you. Uh, but are we ready to learn? Are we ready to just look at, observe the nature, observe the knowledge that is available here? Because nature is actually communicating. Nature is talking. But if we will listen. All right, tell me, where do you where do you see most people having challenges in able to have respect for nature? Oh, not only nature as it were, but a part of it, in this case, looking at animal. Where do you see people having more challenges? Like, okay, oh, it's not important. Let's just leave it and move beyond. Where do you see people having this more challenges? Is it maybe when you want to eat, when you want to kill animal, I mean, or because we understand that, okay, after all, we are going to be able to kill them anyway, so we are bigger, we are stronger, we have a bullet and all of that. Where do we have these challenges most?
Yeah, I think it's about our understanding about what they are and the value that we can get from them. So if we majorly believe that they are meant to be consumed, then we will treat them that way. That is it. So, but the fact that even the fact that this, even if they're animals that are consumable, we still need to understand that even during the life cycle of the animals, just their observation and their behavior, it shows us that these animals experience a whole lot of things. They experience discomfort. For instance, why would the chicken give the alarm? There's what is called the alarm call. That is when they sight danger or any predator in their environment. It shows that they are no more comfortable and they are trying to alert themselves that there is danger. This thing can, kill them. So they give that alarm call to alert themselves of the presence of danger. That means they too want to escape. That means they too want to leave. That means they don't want to be killed. So if that is if that is the way they react, then how much more we humans? It's just that we are not taking time to see them in other ways by which they are and what they can offer. But studies have shown that not only pet animals even give emotional support. Most times when we talk about emotional support companionship, we tend to look at it only in, oh, maybe having a cat or having a dog. No, there are also evidences that have shown that even having chickens and rabbits are giving people more emotional support now. And people who are attached to these animals, they have that empathy and compassion that they gain from the animals as well. So I think we need to catch them young. Yes, that is it. We need to catch them young. Let us begin to introduce it to our children right from, their younger age. The more they begin to understand about the animal, like you talked about your son. I don't know how old your son is. My son is
My son is 7.
Oh, is 7 good, and now you can see that he's learning about ants. Now, if he has ants, he would even be telling his mates that no, 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 don't touch them, don't hit them, don't kill them. I have a son also who is, oh, he loves snails. And he talks about snail. He said, "Why are people so?" He made a YouTube video self on this that the way snails are treated, he doesn't like it because when you want to kill a snail, most times you just see people pour hot water directly on them, or you just see them hit them with a heavy stone or heavy object so that they kill and extract them. So my son also talked about it. So I believe catching them young is the way forward.
All right. So before we get into some of the solution that I'm going to ask you there, I have a question that might be linked to also maybe the psychology part of the pain that we inflict on the animal. Because in the food chain, we are as essentially eating who we are or what we are. Okay, let me just use who because we are talking about humanity there, but let's say what, because we need to be what before we can become who. Okay, we are eating what we are in the sense that if you eat what you are not, you will die because you are essentially taking life. Okay, let me explain. You see, there are elements that make us what we are in the sense that we are physically standing, but physically standing making of elements, no? There is water in us. If we drain the
Yeah,
water out of our body, we will die, we will fall.
yeah,
All right. But when we take a piece of meat, call it a beefsteak, for example, there is also water in it. If we take the water away from the beefsteak will become very hard. We cannot eat it. Which is to say that there is something in the meat that we are eating that is going to remain with us for us to be alive. Otherwise, I can just look at the beefsteak or maybe look at apple and say, very beautiful. I will just be alive. No, there is something living in the apple that I need to eat. I will transfer the energy in the apple into myself. Therefore, I am
yeah,
the inheritance of what used to be in the apple now in me. That is what I mean by eating what we are. The same is true whether you're looking at a pasta or piece of rice or maybe looking at bread and all of that. There are living elements in there that we transfer to ourselves. I am
yeah,
saying that to ask. By the time we inflict pain in the animal that we are going to eat, and we eventually eat this animal, does it have any effect on us at the end of the day? Okay, let me further explain that. There is a code in life that all of us are carrying, because now you have a DNA. If you take a human being, you write the human being in code. Each of us is made out of this 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7 plus, minus 10, 0, and all of that, no? They are information. If you take a mistake, let me go back again to mistake. It's written in the same code. And of course, this code, it can be then interpreted whether it is blue, white, green, yellow, blue, heavy, 10 kg, 20 kg. All of it is written into that piece of information. The danger, the pain that we inflict on the animal, is it also written into the code of the animal that we therefore go and eat? Does it therefore have any effect on us? That is my question.
Okay. The explanation is this. Yes, the way it affects us is in terms of, I'll talk about the quality of the meat, because poor welfare condition, whether through poor transportation, heat stress, and everything, it's got a way that it affects the meat quality. And if we humans end up eating meat that are of bad quality or low quality, then it's going to affect us. Secondly, is if we don't care for them to the extent that they get some disease condition and we also consume them, there are some diseases that can be transmitted from animals to humans, which are called zoonotic diseases. So we too can contact those diseases as well. And secondly thirdly rather, if we don't care for their welfare, and they are not, and at the end of the day, you instead of you to prevent some diseases, you now end up treating and giving them a lot of drugs and medication, and we consume them after at the end of the day. The what is it called now? The deposition, I'm forgetting the term, of these drugs in the system can also affect humans that consume them. There's called the withdrawal period, but most people don't know about it. But they just treat, and just maybe slaughter and just eat. There's what is also called the antimicrobial resistance. All these antibiotics and drugs could cause antibiotic resistance even in humans as well. Then, if they are not properly cared for, again, this is number four. Yes, they don't grow well, their productivity is low, and some will even die in the process. So, how do we solve the problem of food insecurity? So, these are ways it will definitely come back to we humans. The poor treatment we give to our animals, no matter how, it will definitely come back to the humans.
All right. Thank you so much for that. I want us to look at some of the way that we can address the situation, because now we're talking about the problem, but are there a way to address it? Let's look at first um, the welfare part of it, because now we say that the treatment that we give to the animal, they come to us. There is no two ways about that. The defecation that we make is what we eventually go to consume tomorrow. It is literally the truth, because it's water. Only that the water, the feces that come out from our body, this when we spit or the urine, they eventually go into the sewage system, that eventually go to the garden. They eventually, so that the water is filtered again, then they come back to us, we drink it again. Again, that is true, because we are eating what we are in a circle of life. Whether it goes to vegetable or it become manure, the element entered into the plant again. The plant dies and it lives. It produces fruit. It's about the same cycle. So if we treat animal well, we are treating ourselves well. If we treat them bad, then we are going to inherit it again. So there is nothing we can do about the cycle. We are going to reap what we sow. If that is the truth. Now, how can we improve? What should we do so that we can inflict less danger and inherit less danger? Because whatever we give is what we are going to receive.
All right, thank you so much. You're absolutely right. So, in terms of the solutions, right? Number one is, like I said earlier on, we need to catch them young. We need to, check our curriculum to have subjects that has got to do with animal welfare, even from the primary school. Let the children begin to understand the other side of the animals, not only the side that they are just farm animals that we just raise for food only. We need to begin to expose them to things like this right from childhood. Secondly is through awareness campaign. organizations that, like this podcast, I really appreciate it because, of course, I don't know how many people would watch it after on, but at least they would learn one or two things and they will go home, and this can be a turning point for them in their own thinking or the way they perceive animal before. So we need more awareness like this, and people need to start talking about it. Yes, and then our policies, I'm aware that the Nigerian, we have policies regarding animal welfare, but we need to do more in terms of the implementation of such policies. Most people don't even know that the policies exist. And secondly, the training of animal handlers need to be taken into consideration, because most people, that just have a farm, that just go into animal farm, they don't even, most of them don't have any training. They have no understanding. They just believe that, oh, animal, agriculture is the in thing. They have some money, they just get a place. Even the people that they employ to help them with the caring of the animals are not trained. Most times are not trained, so they don't even understand what the behavior of the animal is. And like I want to point this, the behavior is like the first reaction the animal will show when something is wrong. So even before it gets to a difficult situation, or a stage where things can have exceeded its boundary, the animal must have showed a behavior telling you, but maybe you didn't take that into consideration. And that is why a lot of people lose their animals, because they are not paying attention to the reaction of the animals. Yes. So I talked about the curriculum need to be, changed, and we have more things related to animals, teaching of animals in our curriculum. The awareness should be countrywide, nationwide, and our policies to be revisited, and also the implementation. How do we train our people? And with those, I think we'll be able, we should be able to, reach out and bring the change that we want.
Thank you so much for that, Iyasere. Um, and that, of course, that have to do with the welfare. Now, I'm more interested now also of the psychology, of the ecological circle that we are all part of. In that, how do we leverage the relationship we have with animal to improve ourselves? Okay, now I explain. You see, even in the time past, animals have been part of war. And they are still going to be part of war even in the years to come, because they are just our companion. But they have been part of war in very many ways. In the sourcing of information, in the interpretation of the danger. But why this come to play is because people have understood that animals are able to transmit information. Apart from just what some army have done, is that they will write a message, put it in pigeons, for example. The pigeon will fly, deliver the information, and come back. This have happened. If you read the book "The Art of War" by Shen Zun, the military strategist, the Chinese military strategy, he made mention of the fact that when you see the bear calm, know that that place is unoccupied. That is also that is a question of life and death. Maybe your army is coming. You meet a group of birds in the air. They are calm, maybe on the plan. Nothing is moving. Know that that place is safe for you. But if it's safe for the bears, it's safe for you too. Which is to say, if we have a good understanding between us and the animal, we will even live. But if we don't, we can see the danger. The animals are running away. We don't read it, we will die. And there are many, many things that we can explain in that. We talked about the train before, how to develop our technology. If we develop it in line with the animal knowledge of what we already, because they have been here more than us, they will be able to develop a system that can stay. But if we don't put them in question, we will also die, even when we are developing our technology. Because we have okay, now what I'm saying in a sense is, how can we leverage the animal behavior to build a better society even for us? Of course, not in the exclusion of the animals.
All right, thank you so much. I think like the word says, animal behavior. So we as well, we need to be observant and learn, why is this animal behaving this way? And there are reasons for an animal to behave in a particular way. There is always the cause factor. What is making it behave this way? Could it be due to internal changes, hormonal changes? We need to be able to understand that. There must be reason. Is it for adaptation purpose? Why is it behaving in that way? So our observation should be able to dive deep into each behavior of the animal and understand the cause and for what purpose is that animal behaving that way. Is it for survival? Is it for adaptation? Is it for it to be able to live, and produce the next generation? We talked about migration of animals. There are different reasons why animals migrate. We talked about the issue regarding to natural disasters. That's number one. But secondly, they also migrate when they have shortage of resources in a particular area or during a particular season. They tend to migrate to another place which is more favorable at that point so that they can continue life. But if they stay where they are in an unfavorable condition, it's going to affect them. They might die. So they have to move to another place during that period. So we too can also look at it in this way, that what can we learn? Like you have said, there are lots of, let's say, each animal, we call something natural behavior or the behavioral repertoire of each animal. The behavior of a bird is different from that of a lion, is different from that of a cat. So there are a whole lot, and we need more people, who want to study this, to come into this field. We are really, I'm using this opportunity, to let people know that there's a whole lot we can learn from the animals, and the more we have more people interested in animal behavior and different animals, then the more we can learn, and also, like you said, improve our technology or improve our system. So I wouldn't be able to say too much because my focus has been on the chickens. So I may not be able to talk, about an animal that I have not worked with. I can understand just at the surface, but I may not be able to say in depth about, what is happening. So we need more people in this field of animal behavior, because once we understand it, we'll be able to see what we too can develop just from the skills that we have gained from them, and we can also better our society.
Thank you so much, my sister. These are really been very beautiful and rich with information for those who want to learn. Because all what we are doing here is that we are bringing in different experts from different parts of the world. In Obehi Podcast, I have interviewed over 1,000 people, bringing them to come and
Oh,
share idea. But that is where it ends. My job is done. For the person who is listening to us now, your job starts from there because now you have gotten the information. Whatever you choose to do with it is your cup of tea. I cannot force you. I cannot make you take any other action. I have done my part. I brought in the expert. They have shared their information. You have heard it, but note one thing. You can never unhear what you have heard. So take your action. Subscribe to this channel, share with other people, make sure you take the right action to move to the next level. That is all yours. Anyway, thank you for being here. Thank you so much, Iyasere. It has been a pleasure.
also, whoever is interested and want more information, of course, they can reach me on LinkedIn. Yeah,
Beautiful.
I'll be excited to guide them and help them. Yeah.
Is that more you, or do you have anything more to say? You say you have a training program or something. Yeah, tell them more about that. That is important.
Okay. I have I've talked about the ebook "Go to the Hen," where I shared lessons about the chicken world and what we humans can learn from the chicken in the book "Go to the Hen." It is available on Amazon. And just I think last month I launched an online course on human-animal interaction, bridging the gap, because I realized that the perspective of there are some gaps in knowledge regarding human animal interaction. When we talk about human animal interaction, most people concentrate on the pet companion animals, forgetting that we also have animals in the zoos. We have animals, farm animals as well. So how do we react with our farm animals, and how do we react with the zoo animals, because they also have a connection or relationship with humans as well. And I talked about, even the role of animals regarding those who are vulnerable in the society, like children, the seniors, those who are homeless. There's a whole lot of knowledge that you will gain from this course. How we can understand that it's very difficult to separate humans and animals, and there's a whole lot of lesson that we can learn from that course. I was also able to emphasize that the perspective of different part of people from different part of the world depends on the way they treat animals. So if you see me, like I said, that I have a phobia for cat, is not that something is wrong with me. It's actually because of my background or the culture, what I have, grown up with, that is really affecting me. And I want to use this medium as well to say that I know that I'm not the only one going through this experience of having phobia for one animal because of our cultural background. But a lot of people find themselves in this because I've met with people, I've discussed with people, but we don't have a support system. How can we help people that, like myself, who is going through this kind of trauma? How can we help them heal? How can we support them so that they can overcome this traumatic experience? I don't know the way out yet, but this is something that is dear to my heart, that I really want to overcome personally, and I also want to help other people overcome this. So I'm open to any form of collaboration, or in this space, and let's see how we can help ourselves so that more people can begin to understand the value in animals and appreciate them and love them, so that in totality we are fostering love for animals.
Thank you so much for
Thank
that.
you.
I really appreciate that. All right, that is where
Thank you.
the conversation terminates today. It has really been full of value and full of information, applicable information. So thank you so much, Iyasere. Thank you very much.